Yes, people. What's going on? Welcome to another morning view. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to United View. Get those likes through the door straight away. Please do smash a like on the video if you haven't done so whilst you've been waiting. And if you're just joining us, just hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Well on our way to 190k. We're nearly there. Very, very close. A big morning show, man. A very, very big morning show. After a big red carpet last night. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It had everything. It's what we want the red carpet to be. It's big opinion. It's where people get held accountable, where people get gaslit. That's just what happens on the red carpet. So shout out to everybody part of that. If you ain't seen it, check it out. Later on today, we've got the Flexing KG show at 7 p.m.
Gonna be
well,
boxing gloves on. You know,
KG have to talk. We got to talk.
Look, I saw in some of the comments, I was checking the comments this morning from the red carpet, and some people were saying that Flex and KG just arguing all the way through the red carpet. Take it to another forum.
Yeah.
The forum is this evening, 7 p.m.
The
Flex and
forum,
KG show. That's where the forum is, and I'm sure it will continue. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out Zek TV, actually. We're always listening to the community. You should try splitting the backdrop green screen so it's left on Flex's and right on Owen's, instead of the same full one for both of y'all. You feel me? We could look at that. I get what you mean, because I used to do that before. So basically you have that half and it continues into mine. Yeah. We're always looking at things. So big up to you. But shout out the new graphics. How quick do you say it? Josh Ninja graphics Ninja blah, blah.
Just Josh Media Graphics Guru Vision and you stepped over me. Just Josh Media Graphics Guru Visual Ninja. Okay.
Just Josh Media Graphics Guru Ninja Video Ninja. I don't know.
Visual Ninja.
Visual Ninja. Well, all of what Owen said, that is exactly what Josh is. So yes, little tweaks going on here and there. This morning we've got to talk about summer exits and how difficult they could be, and in particular Rasmus Hojlund, and of course Mason Mount. You may say, who's that? Mason who? Mount who?
Yeah.
We haven't seen him. We haven't seen him at all. Apparently Inter Milan are interested in him. So yeah, we have to talk about that. And we're going to talk about a little bit more detail of the Ineos cuts and some stuff that has come out this morning on The Athletic. Laurie Whitwell and others have done a big piece on that, sort of just giving a little bit more context, a little bit more information off the back of what we saw yesterday evening. Of course, in the red carpet, we not vaguely spoke about it, but that's not really the show to really get into what was being said. It was just a generic topic as it goes on the red carpet. So let's get straight into the first one. Rasmus Hojlund, summer exit.
Yes, could Rasmus Hojlund be on his way out? Well, a couple of interesting stories about Rasmus the last sort of 24 hours or so. First one, Give Me Sport. They were saying that Manchester United are fearing, Flex, that they will struggle to find a buyer for Rasmus Hojlund in the summer, and they may be forced to keep him as a squad player, or they may have to listen to loan offers. This also came off the back of a report yesterday from Samuel Lucas. I don't know if you saw this one too.
I did, yeah.
Which was a bit contradictory in its phrasing, saying that Manchester United coaches are losing patience with Rasmus Hojlund. United sources maintain staff are encouraging Hojlund during training sessions. So it was kind of like they're losing patience, but they're still encouraging him.
They're still trying because he's still here, isn't it? Like, we're working.
It was a weird way to phrase it. But Hojlund, I mentioned this. I think I mentioned it yesterday, actually, in the morning show. This was before this stuff came out, saying that I think, obviously, because we know we're going for a striker in the summer, 100%, whoever that may be, whether that's Oshman, whether that's Gyökeres, whether that's Delap, whether that's someone we don't even know about at this point. We're going after a striker. For the third consecutive summer, once again, top priority is a striker. We've spent over £100 million on strikers, and yet we're going for another one because we still can't get it right. But because of that, then comes the question of, well, they're going to buy another one, and Hojlund and Xerxes both going to stay. Is that a likely situation? So could we see a situation where one of Xerxes or Hojlund, or maybe even both of them, go out in the summer? They both had links away in January. Xerxes maybe more concrete than Hojlund. Obviously, Juventus were interested and others. But the summer, everyone's seemingly up for sale. So could Hojlund be on his way out, perhaps?
Well, I think they would entertain offers, that's for sure. I really do. Of course, we brought him in as the project striker, the one that you kind of you keep in your ranks and you grow them, you nurture them, you improve them. But the problem that Rasmus Hojlund had from the start was, let's be honest, he was set up to fail. And the reason why Rasmus Hojlund was set up to fail is that he wasn't ready to make this step in his career yet. Is how I see it. I see a raw young striker who has some ability. I know his confidence is absolutely shot now, so it's got to listen. As soon as he takes a touch, he can't control the ball. He's a bad footballer. He's terrible. I don't agree with that. You see it all the time, like with some players at United. You know, it was the same with Lukaku. He can't control the ball, but obviously what he could do is hit the back of the net. And he even did that at United. But, you know, Anthony, he can't do anything, can't get past anything. As soon as the pressure's off, they go somewhere else, they score goals. If Rasmus Hojlund went back to Serie A and went back to, well, not necessarily Atalanta, but just went somewhere else on the continent, he'd do all right. He'd do all right. I think he would do all right. I think the pressure of being Man United's sole striker last year with no help from Martial because of his injuries and lack of availability. And actually, when Martial did play, he helped, but he couldn't play enough to help Rasmus Hojlund. That price tag put upon his shoulders, which was not his fault. And again, into this season, he's the main 9. We've gone and bought Xerxes, who himself professes he's a 9.5, and the manager's saying he's better in that right 10. So still, like you say, Rasmus Hojlund is our only thoroughbred number 9, not Marcus Rashford, not Xerxes. It wasn't Martial. It's been Rasmus since he's been here. So I feel for him in that, in terms of course, if Man United come in for you, big money, you know, you want to go. I get that. But it was too big a jump too soon in his career. He's nowhere near ready to lead the line for Man United. He's ready to come off the bench, you know, here and there, you know, 15, 20 minutes when we got the main guy. Wouldn't mind that. But we can't afford to have that right now. We can't afford to have £74 million or take the add-ons off, because we're not going to pay the add-ons, because, you know, so what is it, 60 odd million, let's just say. I think it's 60.
Something like that, yeah. Still a lot.
It's a hell of a lot of money. However you want to dress up the fee, we can't afford to have that sitting on the bench. So to be honest, I think it's best we do look at just that went wrong. Shouldn't have done that. Get him back to the level for his career that he should be at, so we can actually develop. Get us some money so we can actually invest into players who are good enough to contribute and for the right money. Like Lil Yo-Yo says, Hojlund ain't it, man, sadly. In a different Man United team with a top striker in it, with a really well-oiled machine and a good Man United team, maybe Hojlund would look different. But the pressure then that's been put on him and his confidence is shot now. Nah.
Same could be said for a lot of Man United players today. Yeah. If they were in a well-oiled team and blah, 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 but we're not. You know, that's not the reality that we're in. I think I touched on this yesterday too. That second summer window for Erik ten Hag, it might be one of the worst windows I can think of. For player, you know, what we brought in, you know, that it's mad that still 2025, the best signing out of that window is Johnny Evans.
Yeah.
Think about it. And that one wasn't.
What was that? Rasmus.
That was Onana, Mount, Hojlund, Johnny Evans. That window is shocking.
That's bad. So you're going shocking. 60 for Mason Mount. Let's just say 60 for Rasmus initial, 120. Best part of 50 for Onana was like 47.
I think 40 plus add-ons or something like that, wasn't it? So around about 50-ish. You know what I mean? It's a shocking window.
It's about 180.
Absolute, and every single one, you know, because you don't even really include Johnny Evans in that. You know, it was a bonus. The money that we spent in that window, and, you know, pound for pound, player for player, just a complete and total disaster. All of them. And yeah, with the Hojlund thing, initially, you know, if you trace back the stories back, you know, initially it was meant to be that we were going to be trying to sign 2 strikers, won't be that summer, and Hojlund was going to be the backup. Hojlund was going to be the sort of younger guy that was going to be on the bench and come on, and they were going to go for a Harry Kane-esque. I'm not saying we were going to get Harry Kane. I know Benny McCarthy came out the other day and sort of said we wanted Harry Kane, but, you know, money and price, it was never really on the table because Daniel Levy was never selling to a Premier League club, and we didn't have the finances to pull off a near £100 million transfer at the time, plus his wages. He's on nearly 500k or something ridiculous at Bayern Munich. We just wouldn't have been able to pull it off. But still, you know, we brought in Hojlund, overpriced, and to an extent, last season at different points, we kind of played to his strengths a bit more, you know, passing the ball in behind, play off the shoulder, running behind. But as we've seen, if it becomes more a case of, right, Hojlund, we're going to have to use you as a bit of a focal point, and we're going to have to play off you. You're going to have to hold the ball up and then lay it off to 10s or wing backs. It just cannot do it. It just that's not in his skill set. Plus, it doesn't. even last season, he scores goals in bunches, which we've kind of seen this season too. Scores goals in bunches, but does have these long spells without scoring, which again is fine if you're a young striker, which he is, but you've got an experienced striker there, that's going to be lifting the majority of the weight and you're going to chip in. Unfortunately, he's the lead striker at Manchester United, which is an unenviable position for him to be put in, but he's not, that's not the role he should be cast in. So that's why this summer, once again, we're going for a striker. And it's one of those ones, I think that, when you look at, for instance, at the moment, Alexander Isak at Newcastle, and prior to coming in, where did he come from? Was it Sociedad he was at before?
Yeah.
He was at Sociedad before. And his goal scoring record wasn't amazing.
No,
at Real
wasn't top level.
It wasn't amazing. It was one of those names I think people had heard about around Europe, but it wasn't amazing.
People are interested.
But it's one of those ones where you go, right, come to the Premier League, see if you can make the step up, see if you can score goals. Now it's like he's full on £100 million striker, something like that. And Newcastle did pay a pretty penny for him as well. It's not as if they didn't pay a lot of money for him, because they did. But that's the difference, isn't it? You either you sink or swim, and someone like Isak has swum very, very well, top striker, and then now you look at Hojlund, it's kind of sunk, hasn't he? And United have got. This is why I say we talk out both sides of our mouths, because we ask for ruthlessness. Be ruthless. If the players aren't good enough, get rid, bring new ones in. And then after a couple of seasons, if you do bring up that conversation about, well, maybe we need to look to move on, bring someone else in, it's no, back the players, give them time. And it's go, well, it's not really working out. That's what you mean about the player FC. Yeah, it's not really working out, unfortunately. And this summer, certainly, that's what I want to see from United. I want to see that ruthlessness of, all right, 2 seasons, hasn't worked out, move on, we need to bring someone else in. And stop living in the fear of, what if he goes elsewhere and he does well?
Well, and this is what's interesting about Isak, because you make a good point. I just want to pull up his stats to just show people what we're talking about. So Isak's, 25, 26 now? How old is he? 25. He went to Newcastle, so 22, 23 was his last season. So 3, 4, 5. So this is his 3rd season, isn't it, at Newcastle? So he probably went there when he was 22, maybe? Let's say.
Yeah,
maybe
23.
Yeah. His 1st season in La Liga, 19-20 season, he played 37 games, scored 9. 2021, he played 34 games, scored 17. So it's a big jump there. The next season, he played 32 games, 21-22, only scored 6. And then the season, I think when he left, he only played 2 games in 22-23, and he must have left because he played 2, scored 1. So it's a mixed bag. You wouldn't look at that and say he's prolific. He's had, before Newcastle got him, he had 1 really good season, if you're just looking at numbers. And this is why scouting is important, and the environment you're bringing them into, and when you make the choice to gamble and go down that route to get a young up-and-coming striker. Because like you said, he wasn't a serious bagsman. He wasn't a hang your hat on this guy. He's a 20-goal man. He hadn't even hit 20 goals in the league.
But he was someone definitely that I feel like you'd heard his name around Europe a bit.
100%. And the reason why, because of not just the goals, you see how he moves, you see how he's taking on players. This is why the whole GA thing, you can't just base it on that. So what I'm saying is he's a good example of, just because he didn't score a lorry load of goals, that's not the reason why Rasmus Hojlund's not the right fit. Like, do you know what I mean? Because people say, we've got a guy who scored 9 goals at Atalanta. Okay, I get that. And that's part of it. So you go, there isn't a big sample size of being proven. But the same with Isak. There's more that goes into the recruitment than just, have they had 3 seasons worth of 20 goals each? No, Isak didn't have that. But you look at him, you see the what he possesses, and the scouting goes, nah, I'm telling you, we put him in the right environment with the players that we're getting. We've converted Joe Linton, we're going to get Bruno Guimaraes. I think they got him around the same time, actually, or maybe one. Did Guimaraes? I think Guimaraes come first.
Bruno's in January. He was in the January time, wasn't he?
So, it was when they had their model of, right, we can move away from the Chris Wood now. Like, we got that sort of stopgap level of striker. Now it's time to move on. Matt Target in that. We got him in. It's time to move on from that. And then they went up. So, yeah, I think you're right. I just think the biggest problem with what we did with Rasmus Hojlund was that it was the complete wrong fit for this stage of his career, and we piled all the pressure on him and says, here at Man United, there's the biggest pressure to return back to the top. you might not be good enough to do it yet, but we're going to play you every game 90 minutes, pretty much, no help. And he's just, like you said, you sink or swim, and he's sunk, unfortunately. Gnederify says, Flex, saw you waxing lyrical about slots adaptability on DR Sports. Give it 2 to 3 weeks, and you'll be hammering out, brother. Well,
are we already back here, by the way? Because this is where we were at towards the end of last season, going into this season of, I know in your head that you're this, but you're not saying this. Are we already back? Yeah. Are we already back here? Which is, again, if you have criticisms or you say things, it's I know you're Ten Hag out. Just say it, Flex. Just say hammer him out. Just say it.
It's just crazy.
You want to say it. I know you want to say. Just say it, mate. Just say it. Just say it.
And then people, and that's what I'm saying. People get, KG's getting surprised at the fact that I'm clarifying what I'm saying. Like you don't need to clarify. Just F the fans. Well, no, because this is it. I'm glad that Nedrify has said this, because basically what he's saying is that in my analysis, which that's what we do on DR, we talk about all football teams. So it means I'm going to want all the other managers. It means I want Maresca as well. It means I want all the other managers. In my analysis of Arne Slot, I've said that what I've seen, which I think is really good, is that his way of doing things, Liverpool have played a multitude of styles. He's adapted. Sometimes they play on the counter. Sometimes they play on the front foot. They play on the break. They play high press. Sometimes they set pieces, counter-attack goals. They've scored a variety of different things. They've adapted. You want Amram out. That means you want Amram out.
I mean,
what Liverpool have done this year, you're going to be Amram out in 2 to 3 weeks. That means
they've effectively won the league in February, by the way, and they'd really won it in December. You know what I mean? In the guy's first season of the Premier League, I'm not sure how going. Okay, now he's done a very good job, hasn't he? That means you're a couple of weeks. You'll want Amram to go then. That is the full-on Don Robbie, isn't it? That is.
Hold on, wait a minute, Flicks.
And then honestly, Owen, and then write this bit. So that's the first bit you're saying. Guess what? Proceed to clarify what you really mean. So, okay, you guys probably got the wrong end of the stick. Let me clarify. You're backtracking. You are backtracking. I tell you one thing about you. You don't know where you stand. You're backtracking. Mental. Absolutely mental. But this is what's out there. This is what, to be fair, this is probably why KG, I know he said it in the wrong way, but this is what he was basically, that's why he's saying F the fans. He said it in the wrong, like his delivery, but that's why he's saying, don't give a crap what anyone thinks, that just don't care. That's what he's basically trying to say.
That's why I was saying last night with the basically stan culture in not even necessarily football, but everything. It's just like to death. Let's not have any. No room for criticism. No talk about anything else. It's just nope. Back in, blind back in. Even if you know like that's what you're saying isn't true. It's just. No, it's about saving face over everything. It's like
100%.
It's just madness. It is absolute.
Everyone
madness.
sees it like that. That's what I said. It's called flip flopping and changing this. Like Uncle was saying, shout out Uncle and the delegates. He's applying the pressure, saying no, it means you flip flop. It means all these things. Well, clarification means retraction. Apparently, 2 different words.
Yeah.
Sanjit says, you can have a great drinking game. Have a shot every time. Owen says, talk out of both sides of your mouth. Shame it's 9 a.m. and I'm in the office. Yeah, I mean. It's because it happens. I think it's because
we've got to stop doing it. Yeah.
Like Mike says, Flex, we watch football with our eyes, not stats. Why is Hojlund always on the floor? Again, that was my point about looking at the goals and assists of Isak and saying it's not just about stats. It's about watching with your eyes. Do you think he can cut it at this level? And they're getting that decision correct, which we didn't with Hojlund. All Elite says players don't improve at United. That's the problem. If Rasmus had gone to another Premier League club, he'd be better than he is right now. Graveyard, glory, glory, Man United, glory, glory, United view. And you have to take things like that into consideration about, so many players come here and just, they're finished straight away. Where are we at for likes? We are at 195. Basically, 1,000 people watching. Let's go. Push that up. We know we can do loads better on that. So please do remember to hit the like button. Mason Mount. Inter.
Oh, your favorite player. Your favorite player.
Favorite player.
Mount Coins.
I tell you what, I flip flopped on him.
Yeah. There were reports coming out yesterday saying Inter Milan, Flex, are interested in Mason Mount, possibly signing him on a loan with an option to buy in the summer. The question is, first of all, who is this Mason Mount you speak of? I've never seen him. Secondly, would he even be fit for the summer transfer window? Who knows? I mean, there was saw an article yesterday. I think it was from the Standard in the London paper, was basically going like, basically no one still knows when he's going to be coming back, which is for the second season in a row with him. He has this injury where initially it's like, oh, I'll be back in a couple of weeks, and then he just disappears for like a few months. Last year it was a calf. He had a calf thing, and he was up for like 3 months or 4 months. Something ridiculous. And this, I'm not even sure which this one is. What's his injury he's currently got at the moment?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's muscular, maybe. I'm not sure. But I mean, do you remember we had a conversation towards the end of last season, and I said I was going to need a flop. I said, and I remember I got you to say that one more injury, one more injury, and it was a flop. And since then, there's been like 3 or 4. It is just insane.
I think you were saying, Flex. Okay, so when will you say it's a flop? And I was like, okay, well, if he gets one more big one after this, then I'll have to say it. And like you said, that was probably 2 injuries ago now. He came back. It definitely was 2 injuries ago. It wasn't this one. This wasn't the deciding one, and the last one wasn't the deciding one. Pretty sure it was the one before that. It's just terrible. And look, there's different ways to speak about this. I think the most simple way to talk about it is it's over already. It's done. He's got to go. It didn't work. You can talk about it, because the worst thing is, you can talk about it stylistically of why did we get this profile of player? That's not what we needed, and this, that, and you can talk about all of those things. But the truth of the matter is that we never got to see any of it. We never got to see any of it. And actually, if you're talking about stylistically now, left or right 10 for Mason Mount is perfect. That's where he's done his best work in his career under Tuchel. So it was short-lived. I get it. It was a couple of seasons worth of good work, and he was player of the season twice, winning the Champions League in the latter. But nah, I was just looking at Flex.
I like how many times he's played for United. 32 times he's played for United. And obviously that's including times he's come on as a sub, which is quite a few times. So I don't know how many starts that is. I guess maybe half of those might be like
how many starts when?
I'm just having a look to see
how many starts he's had for us.
Yeah, at Man United. It's crazy. Oh, here you go.
Here you go.
Wait a minute. What do you call it? 15, 16, 17, 18, 23, 24, 25. Like maybe 30 starts-ish.
Yeah. So what's that? Europa League, he started once in the Champions League 2. In the league,
it's not a lot. It's not.
Started 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Started 14 games for us.
Well, in 2 seasons.
Yeah, I've just gone to Man United all seasons. So he started. Yeah, so all seasons. Yeah, so 23. Yeah, so Champions League, we've only been in that once since he's been here. He had 1 start last year, and that was against Copenhagen. Oh no, sorry, that was again. He played 85 minutes against Galatasaray, so he started that game. That's 1 start in the Champions League, 1 start in the Europa, and that was against 59 minutes. That must have been Bodo Glimt. There you go. So that's Bodo Glimt this year, this season. He's had in the league. It's more red than it's white with the injuries.
Yeah.
So he's had 9 starts. 9 starts in the league. Can't bother to go through all the team, but 9 starts in the league. No starts in the FA Cup. Played 15 minutes against Liverpool, and played 1 minute against City. And then EFL Cup, Carabao Cup, he's made 2 starts. 1 against Palace. That's when we thought we was back when we won 3-0. And 1 against Newcastle where we got dicked 3-0. Played 90 minutes in that.
And this is where we'll get into the cuts shortly. This is where I think rightfully so. Look, it's not necessarily wasn't an Ineos signing. You know what I mean? It was a signing under the previous regime, under John Murtough, under Richard Arnold, and with Erik ten Hag and what have you. But people will look at stuff like this, won't they? And they'll go, you're cutting, you're soup and bread at the training ground kind of thing, and you're counting screws and sellotape. But realistically, this is a guy that's, as you said, started, was it 17 games for Man United?
No, not even that, less.
14.
How much? Was it like 14?
or whatever. You know, he's not started many games for Manchester United. He's on £250,000 a week. You know, number 7 shirt. Like, it's ridiculous, and that's why if you want to be ruthless, if you want to make, if you want to make cuts, you know, obviously you can make these cuts that you're doing now and what have you, but come the summer, and I know it's not easy to do, and I know it's difficult because people in the past have given out shitty contracts and difficult contracts to move people on. I understand that, but you've got to try your best to try and move these kind of players on, because it's not working. It's not worked out, you know, and that's another thing about just life, football in general, which is it's also okay to take a step back and go, some things haven't worked out. This hasn't worked out. Abort. Stop. You know, press the red button. Stop it right now. Mason Mount at Manchester United has not worked. And if we're looking at what's happened over the last 2 years, it's not going to work. And he's into that category now of those players like your Jack Wilshere's or you ever go, oh, yeah, when he plays, great. But at the same time, he doesn't play that much. So, and we are not, as a club and as a team, in the position to be like, well, you know, when he comes back in, it helps us, but we're fine otherwise. No, he's one of the highest paid players at the club. We need the money. We're not going to be in Europe probably next season. We're making cuts left, right, and centre. We need people that are going to play and are going to be available and are going to fit Ruben Amorim's system, which Mount does, but he's not available all the time. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Ruthlessness. I won't say the word out of whatever side of the mouth, because I don't want to get drunk.
No, you basically just said it. No, hold on, wait a minute.
Take a drink. So yeah, but you know, but it's done, isn't it? It's done.
Yeah, it is. It is done, and that is probably. You'd like to say that was the last major one they got wrong, because of the outlay in terms of the significance. But you look at the window that's just gone. For how does it suit Amorim, and he'll probably want a lot of those to leave too. But in terms of like significant outlay, like 60 million, number 7, doesn't really get much bigger in this form that we are, because we don't buy 70, 80 million pound players anymore. 60 million pounds, you know, number 7 as well. I think that's as big as it gets. I think that's probably the last.
With a year left on his contract as well.
Year left, mate. Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, year left on his contract, and it's not as if he didn't have a big injury that season at Chelsea.
Yeah,
he was injured for a lot in that last season. And you had Chelsea fans. I remember this goes back to kind of the sort of stan culture, doesn't it? Because when the Chelsea fans, not all of them, but some were almost sort of celebrating them selling Mount and going, I tell you what,
yeah, thank you. I'll take that.
You 55 plus 5, and we just sort of pushed back on it and went, you're just being bitter bastards. You know, you're just salty. One of Cobham's that he's come to us and he goes, look, this is a big place. This is proper. And we're like, yeah, pat ourselves on the back. Yeah, look at this. He's at a big club now. They were right. They knew.
You know, the season, do you want to know the season that we bought him? Yeah. When did we get him? 22, 23, innit? Yeah, 23, 24. He was there, right? So that season, they decided to buy him on. How much did he have out? He had pelvic injury. To be honest, do you know what? It's not as much time out as we actually think. He made 35 appearances that year. Scored 3, assisted 5. Injuries. It was sort of the back end of the season. The first bit of the season, he played a lot of football. Pelvic. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, yeah, so 11 injured, missed 11 games. So he did actually play more than I thought in that last season, if I'm honest. Because I just remember it being he's always injured, he doesn't play.
He missed 13 that season. 13.
Yeah. But what it is it's the start of it's Chelsea spotting it and going, nah. Because before that, he played an awful lot of games. You know what I mean? 22, 23 season. He's played he played 35, made 35 appearances again. So no, that's the same one. 21, 22. We want. What did he do the season before? That was probably one of his best seasons, I think. Yeah, 53 games, 13 goals, 16 assists. So that's when he's cooking. Do you know what I mean? Those are the 2 seasons. I think that was again Player of the Year. 2021 season, I think that was when they won the Champions League, innit?
And also, this serves as a reminder.
54 games, 9-9. Yeah.
Not that Chelsea are the best complete model to follow, but you look at that. That's a homegrown player there. That's 55, 60 million pounds. of pure profit for Chelsea. And those kind of exits have bankrolled their ability to go and buy more players, because that's how it goes right now. And that is, and you know for a fact, if that was the other way around and it was Manchester United, we would be having this massive debate going, but, you know, one of our own, come on, you know. And when we signed Mount, we was what, like 25, you know? So it's like, he's his peak years. Can we really be doing that? Yes, and maybe some injuries, and oh yeah, is he good enough? But then move him on, bankroll him, bring more players in. And look, they haven't always got it right. And I've mocked Chelsea for, you know, some of the signings that they've made and their strategy. But I don't know. It's just where it comes to us, you know, that you can tell that would be something. If it's the shoe was on the other foot, we would debate that so much, so much. And now on the other side of it, it's one Chelsea got right. It's absolutely one that Chelsea got right.
Oh, and they've continued to do it. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of raising the money, they might have spent the money wrong in certain bits. Now they're crying, saying we don't have this, we don't have that. That's because they've spent the money wrong, not because they didn't get it. And they've moved on from academy players who, you know, and replaced them with players that aren't much better, or you know, worse. But in Mount's case, it's justified. All Elite says players don't improve at United. That's the problem. Oh no, I read that one already. Uncle is here. Big up, Uncle Somi. He says ficky flex, flip flopping like turntables. Big up to you over from the Reckless Delegate. Shout out, Uncle.
Man, Uncle's
tag team.
Yeah.
Man. If you hear the call yesterday, he was no. This is what you are as a DJ as well. You failed in that basically. You play the songs and nobody likes the song, so you have to change it.
I've spoken to Uncle a couple of times. He's called into the Full-Time View. And I remember I can't remember when was the last time I spoke to him, but I know this season, certainly, he's spoken about watching Manchester United with his blood pressure machine to make sure he's okay. He said that he'd rather tell his grandchildren war stories than watch Manchester United. So, yeah, I mean, there you go, Uncle. That's what it is.
Shout out, Uncle, man. Shout out, Uncle. Big part of both communities now. Nem Green says, Wagwan boys. One worry: if Ruben Amorim gets backed and then sacked in October in terms of transfers, where are you starting? For me, it has to be a goalie, 10s and 9. Also, flex, smile and wave. Well, just say hello, hey. Where would you start? What? So if he got sacked, if he got backed and then sacked in October, where would we start then? I don't know, because it depends what he bought in this summer. I don't know. We might address those things now in the summer. So I don't know. But if you're talking about now, where you starting just in terms of now, yeah, I mean KG was saying about this, isn't it? Goldie would start there. Like, well, he said a few before that, but Onana's getting higher and higher up, basically. Yeah. And he's not wrong. He's a massive problem. So,
and
yeah, 10s, yes, 9s.
I don't know if you saw those stories yesterday about City going after Costa from Porto.
Marcel, love that.
Thing is, you just know he'll go to City. It'll be really good, buddy. It'll be really good, and we'll be like, oh shit.
When we played against him, he's fucking throwing the ball in the net.
It was exactly threw the ball in the back of the net, and you just go.
Oh, it's one game. It's one game. It's not.
Yeah, and I remember. Was it the World Cup or the Euros? He had a couple of dodgy games, but then he had a couple of good games. I don't know. Just goalkeepers, man.
Yeah, it's What can we say? Wow, we're at 1-1. Look at that. That's a number and a half, isn't it? There you go. Yeah. That's how much people are watching live right now. How many people have liked the video out of that 1-1? 289. Well done, Peeps. We're pushing nice. So we're nearly at 300. I think we could do 500 likes easily. There's a lot going on this morning. We can get to 500 likes. We're basically at 300 now. So please do that. Avi says Amorim himself said he needs to win games to get time. He isn't winning games. Pulling the wool over our eyes live. All other managers get a tune ASAP. That's Avi's opinion. Be careful, Avi. United Love says football fans are the types to tell the surgeon how to operate. Everyone has such strong opinions without having all the facts. Worst thing to come from social media. Said before, if it was that easy, any of us would manage United. So just calm down, because none of us really know. I think KG was saying that as well. Like, we all chat rubbish. We don't know. we don't know. Yo, did you make thumbnail or flex clip? Nasty work. Did you make that? If you made that, Yo,
I haven't
You're
seen
getting
this.
no, because KG put the flip flop and flip flop flex in the picture of me on his thumb.
Oh, did he?
That's
Again,
KG.
I haven't seen this. I'll have a look now.
Yo, you're doing the eyes. Was that yo? Wait there. Is that what's going on?
KG's
Yo, did you make that?
Sport.
Joe Blackman snitching as well, saying yes.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of eyes here. What are we talking? Are we talking about a temporary ban for Lil Yo? Is that what we've got to kick him for the rest of the show and then bring him back? Yo, is that what you're doing? Remove mod status for a show, they're saying. Can we tolerate this, Owen? Going across to other platforms, shout out, sister channels and that, but going across to other platforms and mocking Fleck, or do we take it lighthearted and say, that was good work? What do we do here?
Hey, Flex, I think that you're not running a dictatorship here. What are people not allowed to mock? People not allowed to hold you to account. Are people not allowed to sort of call you out? I don't think so. We don't. It's not like KG's reckless sport. It's not Flex United view. Is it? It's just we're all united in the community. I stand up for Lil Yo-Yo there.
Okay, so you're in support of him. So basically, do you need a temporary ban as well?
To go.
Fleckocracy. I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all love. But that is nasty work. I didn't know you actually did do it because I thought KG makes his phones. Shout out you though, Lil Yo-Yo. All is forgiven. All is forgiven, bro. All is forgiven until you do it again. Yeah, big up. It's all love as always. Right, let's get into the Ineos cuts. Let's get serious again. There's some little bits that were some extra stuff on top of what we saw yesterday, right?
Yes, there was some more details come from The Athletic this morning, sort of talking about how the meeting went yesterday, how the message was conveyed to the Manchester United employees. Some interesting tidbits from this meeting. The Athletic was saying that at Monday's meeting, it was mentioned that the costs and savings associated with the measures have been calculated, assuming that Manchester United qualify for the Europa League within the next 4 years. Within the next 4 years, interestingly, whether or not we actually do. So maybe it's a case of, and this is something that was put in the article, which is written by Mark Critchley, Adam Kraft, and Laurie Whitwell and others, which was basically, okay, but what if Man United don't qualify for any of these competitions? Like, what's going on there? There was also this graph that sort of showed how Manchester United's headcount has grown. According to the club's accounts, this is average employees. As you can see, a quite significant rise from 2011 to 2024, which, look, headcount does grow, and sometimes it does dip depending on budgets, depending on the economy, depending on how well the business is doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
It dipped in 2016.
Yes, but as people also point out when they say, but is this an example of sort of the bloated workforce? This was something that James was mentioning last night, wasn't he, on the red carpet, that the bloated workforce in comparison to other Premier League clubs, which is why Ineos and others want it to be cut down. Yeah, I mean, and there was some interesting stuff as well about, I don't know if you saw this, Flex, about how they were really concerned about leaks with this meeting. I don't know if you saw that too.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Talking about how, there was certain links. It was before that there had been pleas for confidentiality, which some staff present scoffed at, amid fears among others they might be watched or be recording or messaging about what was being said. Those in United's London office followed events at Old Trafford together on a big screen, as video conferencing links were not sent out in order to counteract leaks, to stop any of these happening. There was also something quite interesting about Dan Ashworth in there. I don't know if you saw this too, Flex, where basically they were sort of, many of the employees were going, you're cutting this to save money, yet you brought someone in, hired them and fired them in the space of 5 months. They could have, that money could have been used quite nicely, couldn't it? And I hadn't heard about this before, but so they said Ashworth infamously lasted only 5 months at the head of Man United's football department, which is expected to suffer the most in the next series of redundancies, but not before a difference of opinion with minority owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe over whether such cutbacks were necessary. Ratcliffe asked Ashworth to make cuts to United's football operations, only for the former Newcastle United executive to be reluctant to dispense with staff in his department. Those cuts could not be postponed indefinitely, however, and despite these measures being justified as routes towards football success in United's statement, there is a 50-50 split between the football department and the rest of the club. The redundancy process is expected to be carried out over the next 3 months. So I hadn't heard that before, that effectively Sir Jim had said to Dan Ashworth, and again, these things, when they come out a bit later on, they do start to make a bit more sense, don't they?
Yeah.
When it comes
before,
to
it was just the Eric thing of just he wanted Eric to stay.
yeah, and transfers and all this kind of stuff. And so, by all accounts, they're suggesting there that Ratcliffe's going, right, we're making cuts across the club. You need to tell me who you need and who you don't need, and who's dispensable, who's indispensable. And Dan Ashworth's effectively going, I don't want to lose anyone from my department. And then the clashes start, and then I would assume then the other stuff starts coming into it. Well, you wanted Eric to stay, and you said we should get a manager for this, and you said we should have bet that, and blah blah blah. And Ash was pushing back. Well, I'm a football guy, you're not a football guy, and then you end up leaving, which is what happened in the end. But some interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, it's just again, it's total mess, isn't it? Like seeing Ashworth basically say, "I don't want to make cuts in that area." I don't think that's the right thing to do. Because basically he's gone against Sir Jim. Sir Jim's gone, F that, then see you later. I'll just get rid of you. Which that bit is ruthless, but again, it borders into incompetence because so quickly you've fallen out with the guy that you championed. So it is incompetence for me, and we're seeing that now. All of a sudden now everyone's caught up with the Ineos thing. Like, when I tried to criticize them early doors, it weren't allowed. He says, no, it's not this. And then you fast forward a little bit with new evidence presenting itself. And everyone's retracting their statements. But I feel like
you said
Jim
the flip flops flex.
Well, I don't know.
You saying there's going to be some fun?
Well, actually, the question is that's a good question.
Yeah,
is that do they see that do they still see that as ruthlessness? That's what I would like to know. Maybe say yes or no. Do people who said it, because it's not everyone who said it. Some people agreed with me, some people didn't. Do people still see him getting rid of Dan Ashworth as ruthless? Or now you've seen other stuff happen, do you look back on that and think that was incompetent? Which I'd like to know. But
can it be both?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, ruthless because you're cutting it straight away because you can see it don't work, but incompetent because you did it
made
anyway.
the mistake. Yeah, I think it's probably that.
So we're talking out both sides of our.
Hey, Flex, I don't want to get anyone drunk. You know what I mean? Drink safely, drink responsibly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But to this, it just shows you in it like what's going on in there, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe is that, like I said, he's dealing with people now, a lot of people, and he's willing to be very savage with it, really, and I feel like it doesn't help the confidence because we're looking at these cuts that have been made. The trade-off for the morale of the place, is it worth the saving the 50k or saving the 1 million or the 100k or whatever they may be? These, you just like literally shaving the top off. That's all it is compared to where the real money's been leaked out the football club. And now, are you going to have a counterproductive workforce that, like you say, feel like you're spying on them, don't feel you've got their best interests in heart? They think you're running a dictatorship, and now they're actually not motivated. And now the whole mood of the place, on top of the team's losing it, they're 15th in the table, the manager's under pressure already, the players are saying this and saying, like, it just adds to all of the stuff. I mean, now the workforce is pissed off. I'm just not sure that trade-off, I don't think is proportionate for how much they're going to save.
It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, going back to this graph again, just to see what they said in the article, they say that this level of cut would bring the club back into line with the staffing levels of more than a decade ago, which was 696 employees at the end of 2011 to 2012. By comparison, Arsenal had 723 staff members at the end of the 22-23 season, and United's cuts are expected to bring them in and around that figure. Ratcliffe does not believe United staffing levels should be significantly higher than those of their rivals. But then it also does say that Ratcliffe's approach to balancing these books will be criticised, but United's predicament is also a legacy of the Glazer family's leveraged buyout in 2005 that has saddled the club with eye-watering interest payments ever since, not to forget the dividend payments cashed until only a few years ago, which again is that's the thing with this, isn't it? Is that there are kind of several topics of conversation involved in all of this, and which, of course, then really, really muddies the water, and I think makes it a difficult thing to discuss because there's lots of different things going on at the same time, isn't there? Like there is with Ineos, there have been mistakes that they have made which have contributed to this, and I think, like you mentioned, go towards the anger of the employees that they're getting rid of, because they'll go, right, we understand that the club has massive debt, and we understand it's a legacy of the Glazers, and we understand that, you know, the interest payments are getting bigger, and they're going towards this thing in a couple of years where that certain loans are meant to be paid off. They're not going to be paid off. They're probably going to be refinanced, and probably the interest payments are going to be even higher on some of those loans as well, which is going to put the club into further financial strain and situation. So we understand that. But at the same time, it's not as if over the last 12 months you haven't added to it, because you've made these quite costly mistakes, and you've made, like you said, this incompetence of Dan Ashworth, of Eric Ten Hag, of certain transfers, of this, that, and the other, and that doesn't help things. But at the same time, the workforce in general has been bloated for quite some time. And again, that graph does prove it. If you look at Manchester United, over a decade ago, had a workforce the similar size of Arsenal kind of now. That's mad, really, when you look at it. And so there would be
bad in that time,
and there would be legitimate reasons of people coming in to look at that and go, well, probably we need to chop that down. Whenever you buy into a company or there are mergers, there are always redundancies and there are always cost-saving measures. There are always synergy costs, or whatever they call them. And that was the frustrating thing yesterday too, with you saw that statement from Manchester United. You know, there was so much business and PR bullshit buzzwords in there that make your skin crawl. You know, transformative plan, cost saving, anything that's transformative or anything like that, you just roll your eyes at, because you're trying to spin a bad situation into a good one, and trying to not, make the share price tank because you're doing all these cuts and what's going on at Manchester United. But at the same time, the other part of it is that some of this is necessary because financially we are in such a bad situation because of our majority owners, and it's still a problem. Like, that is still the biggest problem at the club, is that who our majority owners are. They have led us to this point, and they're richer from it. They've still got £1 billion quid in their pockets.
The problem that they also have is so they can't, clearly, because they're minority, they have no power to sort of, stop the Glazers, encourage the Glazers to put their own money in. Glazers have just sold, 1.2 billion pounds of the club. They've just been given a lot of money for selling a bit of their share. There's no onus on them or pressure on them. Well, it's pressure from us, but not pressure that they perceive as they need to act on. To use some of that money to actually help out. Never going to happen, because look what they've been doing for so long. And then you look at the playing side of stuff with the players. How much of this ruthlessness is going to kick in the summer then? Because I get you have to wait for summer transfer windows and windows in general to start Xing out players. But are we going to see this same level of don't give a F vibe, with the players that need to go? So exactly. Casemiro's got 18 months left on his contract, or a year left by the time the summer comes. Says, I want to stay here. What tools do you have in your armory, if any? Because I know players have the power, they got the contract. But are you going to get creative with that? Are you going to force him out? Are you going to be like, well, that's brutal. Casemiro's training with the kids because he's not even on tour. Are you going to go down that route? And I know there's business things, and you got to be careful with transfer windows and contracts. You don't want to get sued by the player's agent, and you can't boot them out. I get it. As fans, we just want them to get rid of everybody. But I do want to see, Barcelona style, levers pulled. I want to start seeing some creative ways, some ruthless ways then with this squad then. Because if you're happy to do that to people who are everyday people in Carrington, everyday people who work at Old Trafford at an operational level, at catering level, or whatever it is, yeah, that's fine. But have you got the balls to do it to the big earners? Have you got the balls to take on, the people who are taking a significant chunk out of the club? Are you going to be ruthless with Mason Mount and sit him down and say, right, Mason, sorry, we're going to have to sell you. Sorry, it didn't work out. Sorry, we said this. Sorry, we said that. We're going to have to sell you, mate. Are you going to sit down with Luke Shaw? Is someone going to say to him, even when you are fit, you ain't playing? Now, of course, I get he can say, don't play me then. I'll train with the kids. because that is, players can do that. I'm not going anywhere. I get that, but they need to find creative ways. It doesn't all have to be a dictatorship where you piss them off so they don't want to leave. Sell it to them. Lie. Be creative. Whatever it is, be creative and as ruthless as you are with everyone else.
But also as well, it must be stressed. And so say you like this, but I remember a couple of years, it was like 2 years ago or whatever it was, and Richard Arnold was on like an earnings call or whatever, wasn't he? And he was saying that we were closing the gap on Manchester City. And everyone at the time went, well, you're lying. No, we're not. What are you talking about? And sometimes this is what is it's sometimes is easier to stick your head in the sand, isn't it? And be like, oh no, it's fine and it'll all be okay. Or take your head out of it and look at the reality of the situation, which is, this is our financial situation. It's been like this for the last 2 or 3 years, financial or longer, where it's been like, it's really bad, really, really bad. And something does have to be done. I mean, like it says in the article there, the fact that in the meeting, they're saying, imagine this, that these measures have been calculated under the assumption that United qualify for the Europa League for the next 4 seasons. Now, as they say, but given that Amorim's side currently sit 15th in the Premier League, that's raised the question, well, what if we don't qualify for the Europa League? I mean, it's not even Champions League, this is Europa League. So you get the impression that those within the club, they're seeing this iceberg on the horizon, haven't they? They're seeing like this, fucking hell, like we're not even talking about our budget for qualifying for the Champions League. We haven't done that consistently for a long time. We're now being like, well, this is what we can afford if we qualify for the Europa League for the next 4 years. And even then we might not. And even then that might mean we have to make even more cuts or what have you. So that's, again, it's fully on the horizon of hitting this massive iceberg. Again, that comes back from decades of mismanagement to get to this point now.
I think there is going to be more. There is that, we got the 200, we got the first 250, didn't we?
Yeah. This will bring to around 500. Yeah.
Do you think they really went at that 250? And this is the question: do you think they got to that first 250 when that should be enough for now? We'll assess it in a little bit, or do you think they looked at it and gone, well, overall within a year we need to get rid of 1,000 jobs?
Yeah, there'd have been a timeline. You know what I mean? There'd have been a timeline.
100%. This is staggered because also if you drop, we're getting rid of 500 right now. Again, it's more outrage. Obviously, it's outrage now, but it's almost like they're trying to limit the impact of the delivery of the news. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, these are business people. There's no way they've thought that short term. Because again, if they did, that'd show even more incompetence. If you've gone, I'll tell you what, we'll do 250, see how it goes. Oh, still lost quite a bit of money there. Let's do another 250. See how that goes. No, you got to have a long-term thing.
This is kind of what Dev mentioned last night on the red carpet, and I can attest to this. Having worked in HR previously, these things are planned out, years in advance, usually, in terms of a timeline of when they're going to cut certain things, when redundancies are likely, when they're going to happen. Usually around the time of where they're budgeting as well. Turn of the new year, end of the financial year, they'll look at those things and go, right, okay, so at this point we'll have to cut these amounts of jobs. And again, they as much as sometimes, we heard the other day about, was it Sir Dave Brailsford of the Project 21 or whatever, but they'll have like 3 or 4 year timelines of what things they want to be hitting at certain parts, and redundancies, unfortunately, are a part of that. But this isn't, spur of the moment. This hasn't been something they've decided over the last couple of weeks. This is definitely, something that's been planned out for a long time.
100%. Red Baron says, did you know Owen knows Jamie and Skeptaflex?
Yeah, mate.
Do you know them?
Yeah, know them inside out.
You know Skepta. You heard
yeah. I know, the relatives and, Grime and all that. Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of, you speak about the buzzwords from the finance stuff, but you dropped a couple there, relatives, Grime, So
yeah, they are relatives. Yeah,
they are relatives. So okay, so yeah, Red Baron, right?
They are related. They are related.
Yeah. How? Do you know how?
Blood.
They're related. They're related by blood.
Yeah.
Normally, when you're related to someone, it's probably by blood.
No, not necessarily. You're not necessarily.
No.
Necessarily.
Do you know what titles they give each other? Are they brothers? Are they cousins? Are they second cousins? Are they nephews? What are they?
I think they're probably cousins.
Okay. Okay. You're doing all right. You're doing all right. They're not cousins, but you're doing all right. They're brothers. But yeah, But by blood, related by blood, so we'll give you that.
I was going to say brothers as well.
Yeah, brothers, mate. Red Baron says, if only billionaires could cover costs. Oh wait, yeah, that's what I was saying. Is maybe the Glazers could go. Actually, we just sold apart. Let's put something in. No, of course not. D Witness says infrastructure is important, guys. If we can legislate for Ineos making and rectifying a mistake, it should be in this area. I think Ineos part in this mess up is tip of the iceberg. Hashtag Glazers out. Shout out to you, D Witness. Thank you for your super chat. And I see what you're saying. The infrastructure is proper important because that's what's going to help us be sustainable. I get that. Red Brown says we'd be sacking loads of people if we finish so low. If so, isn't that the fault of the owners, whom should be bearing the brunt of the poor decisions? Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The main criminals are the Glazers. They should be bearing the brunt of it. But this is what we're saying. They've put Ineos in front of the gun at the moment. That's what they've done. We're taking all these licks. I tell you what, can you get here and be our shield?
Right, yeah, because that is also the other part of it. You see all of these articles and they'll say like Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Ineos cut X amount of jobs, blah, blah, blah. Make no mistake. Obviously, they're part of it, but still the Glazers do it. You know what I mean? It does not get signed off and it does not get approved without them doing it. What do you think they're going to the Glazers? Oh, my hands are tied here. I wouldn't cut the jobs, and try and make more money. Of course they're involved. You know what I mean? Should be Ineos, Glazers, or just Manchester United cut X amount of jobs. It's not completely driven. I mean, it might be Sir Jim that's doing it, i.e. he's going, this is what we need to do. But they couldn't give a shit, could they? Clearly.
100%. 100%. It's total crap. WJ Barrett says, shit, man, late to the party. I'll use this milestone to say big ups to you, Flex and Owen, and the rest of the UV crew and chat. Love this channel and props. Been member for 32 months. That's a long time. It's a long time. Big up to you, WJ Barrett and the family. Hope you guys well. Aria says, Maxwell D is my cousin. Don't let me get serious. Big tune. Yeah, it's just old school garage. Yeah.
It's not gonna.
I mean, pay as you go crew. Heartless crew, Ali Pally. You know what I mean? No, them are no we. Them fast, Maxwell D. Pay as you. No, it's
no, I don't know. I don't.
No, that's deep. You definitely wouldn't know none of that.
No, I don't.
No, you don't. But it's a big deal. And shout out Aria says my bro is in Supercell too. So you got some famous family. Big up to you, Aria. Right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for getting involved. Where did we get to, actually? We didn't have.
By the way, I see them Green said we missed a super chat. We did read it out. It was a members chat. We did read that one out.
Right. Okay. We got everything done. Okay. Big up. Thanks for looking out for us, Nem Green, as well. We got to 414 likes as well. So on the way out, we can get close to 500. We're nearly there. Rest of the day, we've got the Flex and KG show at 7 p.m. Make sure you guys.
And a match preview.
And a match preview today as well, as we take on Ipswich Town tomorrow night.
Yes.
8 p.m.
Trinity match view. Yeah.
Trinity match view. I think me and KG will be all right by then. We would have sorted our differences out tonight, 7 p.m. So yeah, guys, join in. Smash a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're out of here. Take care. Peace.